This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes. Hello, everybody. Let's go ahead and open up the Zoom waiting room as we are here today on Daily with Doc, and it is Pharmacist Fridays, folks. And here's the question. Why are you exhausted even after a good night's sleep? Something to think about. A lot of us have that question as we wake up. It's like, oh, I had like 4 hours, 5 hours, 6 hours, maybe even 8 hours, and you still feel exhausted. Well, that's what we're going to be talking about today on Daily with Doc and Becca. My name is Becca Dukes. As a certified naturopathic practitioner and certified holistic health coach, it is my honor and privilege to bring shows like this to you and an amazing community of certified holistic health coaches, health advocates. And if you were invited by one of those individuals, I want to make sure that you get back with the person that invited you to this program. They knew you were going to find some value in it that is going to empower you as an individual. So get back with them, and they'll be able to be your first point of contact to answer any questions and help you get on a path to a better by the minute life health journey. All right. So here we go. You know, I'm sleeping. Why do I still feel so tired? You go to bed, and again, you're getting 6 to 8 hours, maybe even more. And the alarm goes off, and instead of feeling rested and ready for the day, you feel like you could roll over and sleep for another 3 hours. Then comes coffee, maybe another cup of coffee, but by afternoon, you're dragging, your concentration disappears, your motivation drops, and sometimes it feels like your brain is operating through a layer of fog. This happens so often. But folks, it's not simply about being busy or getting older or not being a morning person. but fatigue is information. Your body produces energy through an incredible complex process involving nutrition, blood sugar, hormones, oxygen delivery, mitochondrial function, stress, sleep quality, medications, and so much more. So when your energy is consistently missing, maybe the better question isn't, what can I take to give me more energy? Maybe the question is, why doesn't my body have the energy it needs in the first place? Well, joining me today, as always on Pharmacist Friday, we have pharmacist Benjamin Knight Fuchs, a registered pharmacist, nutritional pharmacist, a longtime educator who has an incredible ability to help us look beyond simply managing a symptom and being understanding of the biochemistry behind what the body is telling us. Pharmacist Ben Fuchs, welcome to Daily with Doc and Becca. And how are you today?
I'm good, thank you. So it's an interesting subject, but I was kind of confused because you said two separate things. First of all, you said wake up tired, and then you said you're fatigued during the day. Those are two separate ideas. So which one
Okay.
is okay, right? You see what I'm saying? Fatigue is during the day is different from waking up tired. It's not necessarily the amount of sleep you get, it's the quality of sleep that you get. So sometimes 2 or 3 hours could be different, could be a quality sleep, and 8 or 9 hours could be not quality sleep, particularly if you're intoxicated. A lot of times
Well, yeah.
people fall asleep when they're intoxicated and they can sleep for 8 hours, but that doesn't mean they're going to get good rest. There's sleep happens in stages. Do you know this? There's
Yes.
stage, right? So if you wake up in the middle of a stage, you might actually feel, even though you got enough sleep, even by the hours, you might actually feel tired. So you got light sleep. Stage 1 is light sleep. You got stage 2, which is a little bit more of a relaxing kind of sleep. And then you got stage 3, which is deep sleep. That's the healing sleep. And then you have dreaming sleep, or they call REM sleep. So if you were to wake up right in the middle of stage 4, for example, you're not going to feel great. You want to go through all your cycles. You want to go stage 1, stage 2, stage 3, stage 4. If you wake up right in the middle of a stage and you haven't gone through all your stages, you're going to wake up tired. But that's different from the fatigue thing. You know what I'm saying? Fatigue is a whole nother issue. So
Okay.
which is it that you want to talk about? Fatigue during the day,
Well,
or you want to talk about waking up tired?
well, if somebody comes to you and says, Ben, I'm exhausted all the time, even
That's
after
different.
a full night's
Yes.
sleep.
No, that's different from waking up tired. That is that can have to do a lot of things. First of all, there's something called sleep apnea. I know you know what that is, right? That's where you don't. That's where you have problems breathing, and when you're sleeping, snoring can be a sign of sleep apnea. But you don't necessarily have to snore to have sleep apnea. Sometimes people wake up and their mouth is really dry, and that's a sign that they've been mouth breathing. They haven't gotten enough oxygen, and that could be a problem. Sleep apnea is also associated with metabolic syndrome, you know that, and obesity, and blood sugar instability could be a problem. Like if you're during your sleep, during the hours that you're asleep, if your blood sugar is dropping, you'll wake up tired. That could be, and that's why I often tell people do a little bit of protein before you go to bed, and that'll kind of have a tendency to keep your blood sugar stable. You can have full-blown nutritional deficiency or anemia, low iron, low B12, low B vitamins. That can do it. Thyroid problems, hypothyroidism is a classic cause of daytime fatigue. And as I've said before, I'll say it again, not only is hypothyroid endemic, it's just probably the most common health challenge that people have, but it's very underdiagnosed. A lot of people don't even know they're hypothyroid or have Graves' disease. Just the people who are hypothyroid accounts for a huge amount of medical diagnoses. And every year, among the top 5 best-selling medications is thyroid medication. So not only is hypothyroidism an epidemic, but it's underdiagnosed on top of everything else. So it's even worse than it appears, hypothyroidism. Dehydration during the day can be a sign of fatigue. So drinking water can help, especially in the middle of the day. You tend to be dehydrated. And also, by the way, first thing in the morning, we tend to be dehydrated. So that might be partially one of the reasons why we wake up feeling tired. First thing in the morning, I do 32 ounces of cold water. And by the way, cold water is more invigorating than warm water. Some people Sometimes you hear people say they should drink warm water, not cold water. Not true if you want energy. If you want to relax, warm water, that's true. But if you want energy, you want cold water, because cold water requires stimulation. The body has to activate, if you will, in order to warm the water up to body temperature. So cold water is more stimulating than warm water. Not getting enough nutrition, obviously not getting enough protein, but also getting too much nourishment, too much sugar can cause drops in blood sugar, hypoglycemia, and that'll make you tired. Chronic stress can make you tired. If you're chronically stressed out, adrenal burnout, adrenal fatigue, you might run out of cortisol, which is your emergency hormone. Cortisol levels can drop if you've been secreting cortisol chronically for a long period of time. Cholesterol goes to make cortisol. So if you're not getting enough cholesterol containing foods, or possibly if you're on a statin drug, or for that matter, any kind of medication, that's one of the most common side effects of medication is fatigue. Overtraining, infections, systemic inflammation can do it. And then also being depressed, thinking that life sucks, having a hard life. Sometimes fatigue is one of the ways that we duck out. I don't feel like doing anything, and it shows up as fatigue. And by the way, sleepiness, wanting to fall asleep, and fatigue are not the same thing. You know what I'm saying? Fatigue is just kind of feeling depleted. Sleepiness is when you want to crash out. Sometimes they overlap, but they're not necessarily the same things. So it's a generalized symptom, fatigue. I'm not going to talk about sleepiness, but fatigue is a generalized symptom that can be related to a lot of things. For our purposes, seeing as how we talk about nutrition, from a nutritional standpoint, nutritional deficiencies can do it, and eating the wrong foods can do it. Sugar especially. A lot of people will recognize that after a meal, a big fat calorie-rich meal, they need a nap. What's that about?
Mhm.
Well, the blood is going into your digestive system, and it's not circulating around your body to where it needs to be, because it's going into your digestive tract to help you digest your food and help you process your food. There's also blood sugar issues and other hormonal issues that'll create fatigue after you eat a big meal. Fasting, ironically, when you think about it, you say, well, I'm not putting any nourishment in my system. Fasting actually can give you energy. And a lot of people will get energy on day 2 of a fast. First day, sometimes people will feel really tired and fatigued, but the second day they get a second wind, and that's ketogenesis. That's ketones kicking in. So fasting, counterintuitively, can actually give you energy, while eating too much can actually deplete your body of energy. So there's a lot of things that will cause fatigue. It would be very unusual, given our crazy, fast-paced 21st century United States of America fear-based lifestyle, that we wouldn't be fatigued, because we're constantly being drained out, and we're not present company excluded, we're not nourishing or nutriating ourselves effectively. So, and also, by the way, if you're taking sleep medications, while it may help you sleep, that can lead to fatigue, particularly as they build up in your body over time. And medications are, especially heart medications, and especially antihypertensive medications, by the way, are notorious for causing fatigue.
Okay, so I have a couple questions.
Yes.
I always have water by the bed, and
Good
I
for
know
you.
I wake up at least twice, sometimes 3 times, to get a drink during the night. I don't think that I sleep with my mouth open, and I'm told that I don't snore.
Okay.
So that getting dehydrated during the night, is that what
Absolutely.
would
You're
cause me?
sweating. You sweat during the night. You lose moisture during the night.
Yeah.
Your water is leaving your body during the night. You sweat. And even if it's not profuse, like your mattress is soaked, you're still losing perspiration. Your body's perspiring. As
Okay.
your body, just metabolism will raise body temperature and cause you to sweat. If you go to the bathroom a couple times in the middle of the night, you may not be replacing the water. I know you just say you're drinking water, but you may not be replacing it adequately when you if you go to the bathroom a couple times. If you
Right.
urinate a couple times in
I
the middle
do
of the night.
put a couple pinches of like Himalayan salt or a little splash of mineral salt.
Recharge.
at night though?
Yeah,
Is
yeah,
that gonna
absolutely.
like
No. Yeah,
affect
that's a
my
good point.
teeth?
Let me bring that up. Let me address that because you do hear people say, "Oh, I don't want to do Beyond Tangy Tangerine before I go to bed," or "I don't want to do B vitamins," or like you say, you don't want to do Recharge before you go to bed or what at night. These things are not good. They're not speed. They're not amphetamines. They're they're molecules that help your biochemistry work more effectively. It's not like you're going to do Beyond Tangy Tangerine or Recharge or B vitamins, and all of a sudden you have all this energy, you can't fall asleep. In fact, they'll help you sleep better because you have enough,
Well,
your biochemistry will be operating more efficiently, and as long as you're tired, as long as you need to sleep. If you
yeah.
don't need to sleep, maybe it won't happen. But if you're tired and you need to sleep, B vitamins are not going to keep you up, or Beyond Tangy Tangerine is not going to keep you up if you're tired and need to fall asleep. In fact, it'll help you fall asleep more effectively because sleep chemistry will have the nutrients it needs to kick in more effectively.
And I absolutely agree with that because I can drink my tangy tangerine before bed and it does not affect my sleep. But
Yeah.
what my concern is having that the sugar, the little bit of sugar
Yeah.
in my mouth and then causing cavities. That would be more of my
Oh, yeah.
concern.
Yeah, that's a good point. Yeah, that's a good point.
So
You're right. You're right about that. You don't want to have
yeah.
you don't want to have any sticky sugary when your mouth is closed for 6 hours or 7 hours. That's true. That's a
Yeah,
good
so
point.
I don't even use the flavored plant derived minerals. I make sure
Yeah.
that it's the plain in
Yeah.
my water at night.
Yeah.
But here's my next question, just for some clarity for our listeners. Say I'm okay, I'm moving again, so I'm packing boxes, I'm moving things around, going through my mind, okay, what stays here, what goes there, what gets donated, and how's this going to work, how's this going to work. So I'm physically and mentally, and then of course emotionally, going nonstop all day long.
Okay.
Would that be considered, and then I'm tired at night, so would that be considered fatigue or sleepy?
Sleepy is when you can't keep your eyes open. Fatigue is when you're just run down.
Okay.
You've been sleepy before where you're just like, your eyes keep you can't keep your eyes open kind of thing. Your eyelids feel really heavy, that sort of thing. That's sleepy.
Like watching a movie?
Yeah, like when you're exactly. You might not even be fatigued and be sleepy if you're watching a movie or listening to a boring lecture. You ever do you remember when you were in school, or even when you're not, if you're ever listening to a boring lecture, you feel sleepy. That's not fatigue. That's not the same as fatigue. Fatigue is just being run down, being depleted. That's a different thing. That's not the same sleep. In fact, sometimes you can be fatigued and not be able to fall asleep.
That's true. When you're
Right?
overtired?
Right. You can feel like really, really depleted, but you can't fall asleep. And those are two distinct ways of being: sleepiness and fatigue.
Okay.
Right?
So I'm so thankful that I have my nutrition, that I am able to go all day long, usually without even thinking about a nap. And I would not have been able to do that 10 years ago.
Right.
No way.
Well, you were carrying a lot more weight 10 years ago, as I recall you
I
saying.
was.
I didn't know you back
That
then, but I didn't know
too.
you said that. And the more weight you're carrying, a couple things. First of all, the harder it is for the blood to circulate, right? Because the blood's got to go through a lot more tissue now. So blood's not going to circulate as effectively when you're carrying a lot more weight. Plus, body fat secretes. Fat's actually a gland. It's a hormonal gland, and you secrete hormones through your fat, and some of those hormones can also be associated with fatigue or inflammation anyway, and that can lead to fatigue. So body weight can definitely, it's a lot harder. It's a lot more work to carry body weight. So that might be a problem too, especially,
Okay.
given that you were carrying a lot of extra body fat years ago. But there's a lot of things you could do to combat fatigue. You don't necessarily want to combat sleepiness because that means you need to sleep. But fatigue, definitely nutrition, definitely micronutrients. Remember, there's a distinction between micro and macronutrients. First of all, let's backtrack a little bit. Micronutrients help your body use the macronutrients. Micronutrients help the body derive energy from protein. Your macros are protein, fat, and carbs.
Okay.
Micronutrients help your body derive energy from protein, fats, and carbs. Without the micronutrients, the protein, fats, and carbs cannot be utilized for energy as effectively. Now, carbs will eventually, they're a little bit easier to get energy from, but protein and fat, you're going to compromise energy release or energy utilization from your macros under micro deficiency, and everybody who's not supplementing is going to be micro deficient. It's not possible these days to get everything you need from just food. So if you're not on the Mighty 90 essential nutrients, you're not supplementing, it's going to be nearly impossible to get what you need in terms of energy from protein, fats, and carbs. That's first of all. Second of all, certain foods act as, the term is soporifics. They cause fatigue. And sugar is the biggest culprit as a soporific. And we obviously, you know, I don't want to beat a dead horse here. We all get too much sugar. But there's other things too. How do we burn? How does a fire burn? Or put it this way, how do you put a fire out? What do you do to put a fire
You take away the oxygen, you take away the fuel.
Correct. That's what oxygen is. Oxygen facilitates burning, whether it's quantum oxygen in your cells or whether it's oxygen in your fireplace. You know, you have bellows, put oxygen in. So quantum oxygen intracellularly or via metabolism is important for energy production, just like macroscopic oxygen is important for your fireplace. So where do we get oxygen from? Breathing. First of all, unless you know what you're doing, or you're a child or a baby, you're probably not breathing correctly, because most people don't. Number one, we don't know how to breathe. Nobody teaches us how to breathe. And number two, under conditions of activated stress hormone, our breathing becomes shallow, and shallow breathing will also activate stress hormone. It's circular. So many, if not most people, are not breathing correctly. And certainly as we get older and the impact of cortisol kicks in, or if you're sick, you're probably not breathing correctly. And if don't have enough, if you're just feeling fatigued, it's a possibility, and it's probably likely that you're not breathing correctly. So there is something called the breath of fire. You know, I always talk about breathing in terms of relaxation, but you can do the breath of fire. Let me just backtrack real quick. There's two phases to breathing, obviously, inhalation and exhalation, right? The inhalation process activates energy, and the exhalation process relaxes you. And you can think about this as kind of intuitive. If you get surprised, right, you go, and then you find that's a big joke, you go, oh, right? And in fact, you can relax just by going, oh. If you just sigh, you will relax. You'll activate the vagus nerve. You'll activate the parasympathetic nervous system just by exhaling. So if you're trying to breathe for relaxation, you always want to exhale more than you inhale. Maybe even twice as much, like inhale for 4 seconds, exhale for 8 seconds. And that's relaxation, because the exhalation process is where you relax. It's what activates the relaxation nervous system. On the other hand, the inhalation process activates energy. So if you inhale more than you exhale, you'll get energy. And that's what a breathing technique called pranayama does, which is an Ayurvedic method or technique. And you can experience this right now. It's called the breath of fire. I do it every morning when first thing I do when I wake up. Well, not the first thing I do, but after I do a couple of little rituals that I have, I do my breathing exercises to wake up. And you can feel it. You can literally feel it if you go like, you do it really fast.
Okay, so are you doing
it 5 times through your nose? I like through your nose and always through your nose and out your nose, but some people do out your mouth. You definitely want through your nose though. Or you can feel it right away. You do it right now. You'll do 5 times. Do it real fast, Becca, or 10 times. Do it really fast. Don't move your head. Don't move your body. Don't move your body. Just get air in. Just do it 10 times. Do it. You can be the demo for everybody. Either do it now. No, fast. Come on, I got to hear it.
I am.
I want to see snot coming out. No, I'm just kidding. I don't want to see any snot coming out. No, I really do it fast. Everybody do it. You can feel it, like in just with a few breaths, you can feel energy. Feel it?
Yeah, I do, and I use that when I'm driving across country.
Yes,
especially.
It's perfect. It's perfect for driving, because driving will put you to sleep, right? And so that's a really good technique for when you're driving. But you can do it in the middle of the day, or you can do it first thing in the morning. Breathing exercises along the same lines. Exercise, aerobic exercise. Get a trampoline, a mini trampoline, a rebounder. And jumping up and down a rebounder for like a minute or 2 minutes, that will stimulate things. Here's another great one. Animals do this. Shake. Just shake. Just shake. Look ridiculous. Look retarded. Yeah. Shake. If you did that for a minute, you'll have energy. You'll improve circulation. Isn't that? I mean, you'll look stupid. Don't do it in front of your friends or anything, or people don't know you. But that's a great way to get some energy. Is just shaking the body. Looking in the sun first thing in the morning, or even just getting out in the sun first thing in the morning. That's another strategy for doing it. What else? Regular exercise will give you more energy, even if it's resistance training. It doesn't have to be aerobic exercise. And then also, if you get worse comes to worse, you can do something energizing like yerba mate or guarana, or you probably don't want to do straight caffeine, but a little bit of caffeine is not a bad thing. 10 milligrams, 20 milligrams of caffeine. In fact, a lot of literature supports the use of caffeine for brain health. Small amounts, not a lot. And it is addicting. You get habituated to it, and that's a problem. But if you lay off if you do caffeine for, like every day for a while, and then you lay off it for a few days, and then you start again, you'll get a significant buzz from it.
So you mentioned looking at the sun.
Yes, first thing in the morning, look out, look in the sun. Don't burn your eyes or anything, but look into the sun. That converts melatonin into serotonin.
Because I know I love sitting out on the back deck.
Too much sun will actually relax you, so you don't want to do that. But looking in the sun first thing in the morning, open your windows and look right at the sun. Don't burn your eyes. So you want to be careful there. But looking into the sun will convert the melatonin in your brain to serotonin. And serotonin is your daytime hormone. Melatonin is your nighttime hormone.
So is there UVA or UVB that contributes to that?
No, it's not. Well, it might be ultraviolet related. I don't think there's a distinction between UVA and UVB. It's just photons.
Okay. So just pretty much the light itself.
The light, yes, exactly.
Okay. Well, all right. Well, man, we've covered quite a bit. And I know we do have a couple questions. Did you have anything else you wanted to mention before going to the questions?
As far as sleep and energy goes?
Yes.
Yeah. What is energy?
Well, that all depends on.
I'm asking you, what is energy?
What is energy?
Yeah.
Energy is whatever it is that gives you
energy. It's a great question, right?
Whatever gives you energy.
It's whatever it is that gives you energy. I mean, I'm asking that because it's an interesting question, right? We use the term all the time, but what is it? I'll tell you what it is in a second, but when you think about it, can you tell me? Can anybody tell me what energy is?
It's a fuel source.
It's the ability to do work.
Boom. Who said that?
Marilyn.
Marilyn. It's the capacity to do work. Exactly. That is the definition of energy, right? But when you think about it, until Marilyn said that, I'd be like, okay, well, I kind of know what it is, but what is it exactly? It's the capacity to do work. That's what energy is. And so the more energy you have, the more work you can do, the more production. Yeah, the more you can get done. Exactly.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Thank you, Marilyn.
Anything else?
Nope, that's it for me.
That's it for you?
Yes.
Okay, well,
except I will say the B vitamins are known as your energy vitamins, because they are the key players in which you alluded to earlier, the energy production chemistry in the cells. The energy production chemistry in the cells is, and I've said this before, but I'll say it again, is the single most mind-boggling biochemical process in the body, is how we make energy from fuel sources like either sugar or fatty acids. They go into cells, and they go into the cell, and then a little bit of energy is produced just intracellularly, but then they go into the mitochondria. And in the mitochondria is where the bulk of the energy is produced. A little bit is outside the mitochondria, but a bulk of it is in the mitochondria. And that mitochondrial transduction of fuel into energy, and energy in the body is measured by ATP, adenosine triphosphate. That's known as the energy currency. And that's what comes out of the mitochondria. So sugar goes in, or it's actually not sugar, it's a breakdown of sugar and fats, goes into the mitochondria, breakdown product, and then out comes ATP. Well, in between is a black box. amazing biochemistry, and that black box is run by B vitamins, several B vitamins, as well as a few other things. But the B vitamins are involved in that translation of sugar derivative into ATP, and that's what gives the B vitamins the reputation as being your energy vitamins.
Okay. Now, you had mentioned protein.
Yes.
You're getting some protein before bed. And Barbara wants to know, how much protein should we get?
There's no answer to that. If you're recovering from surgery, more protein. If you're an elderly person, more protein. If you're lifting weights or doing some resistance training, you're going to need more protein. So there's no real answer to how much protein. You hear numbers thrown around like 0.5 gram to 1 gram per pound of body weight is a rough place to be. But, just because you're eating protein doesn't mean you're getting protein value. There's a measurement, called biological value. Not all protein has the same biological value. So not all proteins are going to give you the same protein value. When you say how much protein should you eat, that's not really, you can't really answer that question. Although a rough estimate that you'll hear thrown around is 0.5 gram to 1 gram per pound of body weight. But it depends on the quality of the protein. It depends on your particular protein needs. It depends on your ability to utilize protein, how much stomach acid you have, how much digestive enzymes you have. There's all kinds of parameters that are going to be involved in determining how much protein you need. So there's really no good answer for that. That being said, 0.5 gram to 1 gram per pound of body weight is the number you hear thrown around.
Per day.
Per day, yes. So if you weigh 120 pounds, you're looking at 60 to 120 grams of protein a day. Now, like I said, if you're an athlete or if you're pregnant or you're recovering from surgery, all those are going to mean your protein needs are going to be increased. For most of us though, are not getting enough protein because protein's expensive. It's the most expensive of the nutrients. And it doesn't have the same kind of instant gratification that carbohydrates and fat have. Because carbohydrates and fat are turned into energy. Protein's also turned into energy, but because carbohydrates and fats are turned into energy more effectively, the body has a hormonal system that's set up to give you pleasure from fats and sugar, fats and carbohydrates. So we get a type of pleasure from fats and carbohydrates that we don't get from protein. And not only is that important for fats and carbohydrates in general, but that's manipulated by food companies to maximize the kind of pleasure you get from the sugar and fats. So most of us are getting way more fat and sugar than we're getting protein.
Okay, so when we think protein, I mean, we have meat sources, we have vegetable and plant sources.
Yeah.
Is there one better than the other?
Depends. For building, there's more building amino acids in meat protein, in animal protein, we'll say, not necessarily meat protein, but animal protein tends to have more building amino acids, branched chain amino acids, for example, arginine, for example. These are building amino acids. They're more prevalent in animal foods. The plant foods that have the kind of protein value or approach that they don't have exactly, but approach the protein, the building value of the animal proteins are your legumes. And that's why you see things like pea protein being used in protein bars or soy protein being used in protein bars. Legume protein tends to be a little bit more building than ordinary plant proteins. So if you're a vegetarian and you want to get your building proteins, your athlete, or you just want to get building aminos, I should say, in your body, you're going to be doing Brazil nut protein, pea protein, soy protein, nuts and legumes, basically.
Okay. Excellent. Well, we do have hands up, as I know some of our co-hosts are bringing in questions from all the different platforms, and AJ has had his hand up for quite a while. So AJ, what question do you have for Pharmacist Ben today? And is it related to today's topic?
What's up, AJ?
Not particularly related to today's topic. Is that a requirement? Because I can just give it to somebody else.
Oh,
give
no,
it to him.
I was just wondering if you were going to take us off on sports trivia or something.
No sports trivia. Robin's got a client who is 70 years old, and she weighs 90 pounds, and she's 5'5". And I do know Pharmacist Ben, so you just gotta bear with me. I'm just reading the question as is.
Okay.
5'5", has been gluten-free for years, has seborrheic
Seborrheic.
keratosis and would
Okay.
like to gain some weight too. Also, brown age spots and cherry angiomas.
Okay. All right. Sounds like a classic case of MBFA disease that we're dealing with here. Interestingly, seborrhea, rhea means flow, like a river, rhea. Sebo means sebum, oil, skin oils. So seborrhea is excess secretion of skin oils. Keratosis is excess keratin in the skin. These are major sign of nutritional deficiency, major, particularly in fatty nutrients, fatty vitamins, especially vitamin A. Vitamin A is vitamin anabolic, vitamin building. It's I don't say the most important, but it is an important building vitamin. And that's makes perfect sense that this woman would have vitamin A deficiency and causing seborrheic dermatitis and have problems building muscle. And you said what it was a couple other things you said she had?
Yeah, she'd like to gain some
You
weight.
said one more thing. I forgot what you said.
Brown age spots.
Brown age spots.
Cherry angiomas.
Yeah, and cherry angiomas. Cherry angiomas are a sign of connective tissue deterioration. So I haven't seen this woman, but she's probably frail.
90 pounds.
At 90 pounds and 5'5", that's not lean and mean, that's frail. So this is a frail woman. This is a weak woman, and she's 70. She's I'm 66, so when I hear 70, I don't hear that old. A lot of people might hear 70's old. It ain't old. There's no reason why this woman should be so frail. Now, if you tell me she's gluten-free, she's probably not getting a lot. There's probably certain nutrients she's not getting. So first of all, you get her on the Mighty 9 Essential Nutrients today, not tomorrow, today. She's probably she sounds seriously malnourished, but she's also probably not getting enough macronutrients either. So I would guess with everything she's saying that she's severely malnourished, micronutrient and macronutrient wise. So get her on the Mighty 9 Essential Nutrients, particularly the vitamin A is going to be very important. Secondly, she doesn't want to gain weight. This is a misunderstanding when people say, I want to gain weight. If you want to gain weight, just go out and eat a bunch of pizza and ice cream. That's not what you want. You don't want to gain weight. Correct. You want lean muscle mass. It's not gaining weight. Even physicians will say gaining weight. Nobody wants to gain weight. They want to gain muscle. You don't want to gain fat. You want to gain muscle. So resistance training is the best way to do that. Now, you don't necessarily have to go to the gym and lift weights. You can do bands. You can even do resistance training isometrics by pressing against a wall or by standing up really slowly and sitting down really slowly. There's all kinds of exercises you can do, body weight exercise. So what I'd be doing for this woman is I'd be getting her on the TMR shake. I would be getting her on the Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients. I'd be getting her on the Zero Fem, because it sounds like she's having some hormone issues based on the brown spots. And I'd be doing resistance training, getting her in the gym. Now, there's a lot of other things I would be doing too. I'm sure she's not breathing correctly, so probably the whole breathing thing is going to be important as well. But from a nutritional standpoint, more protein. TMR shake is a great, TMR, by the way, stands for total meal replacement. So it's not just protein. It's got all kinds of stuff in it, and it is so delicious. It's unbelievable. Have you ever had TMR shake? It is mind-blowing. I asked Stan, Stan who made it, Stan Dennison, that's his formula. And I was like, Stan, why does this taste so amazing? And he wouldn't tell me, but he said, I can't tell you why. And he's right. Yeah, it was a trade secret, but it is. And I've been doing protein powder pretty much my whole adult life. And this thing is singularly delicious. I've never tasted a drink as delicious as this. He has I haven't tried the new plant one yet, but I'm talking about the plain old TMR, mix it with almond milk, bananas, and eggs. And that's an unbelievable anabolic meal replacement. And always do it after exercising because your body is much more receptive to these nutrients after exercise. The creatine will also help this gal. So resistance training, TMR shake with almond milk and egg and maybe a banana, creatine after working out, after your resistance training, and your Mighty 90 Essential Nutrients. I would do the Healthy Bone and Joint Pack if I were her.
Mm-hmm. Okay, fantastic. Would she benefit by learning more about herself in Pharmacist Ben's Academy?
She should join Pharmacist Ben's Academy, as should everybody, because in Pharmacist Ben's Academy, number one, we have what, 20 modules now, or 21 I don't remember how many modules we have. We have
At
20
least 20.
at least 20 modules on different topics. Plus, we do Zoom calls, and we've been doing them every Sunday. And we're going to continue doing them every Sunday, and I can really answer your questions. On these calls, it's very difficult for me to get to everybody. We usually get to 3 or 4 questions, if that, and I have to rush through them. But on the Zoom calls that we do at Pharmacist Ben's Academy, we can really take a deep dive. I blog post on it pretty much every day. And then also, it's a great community. It's a great community of people who love nutrition and love the longevity products. So you'll be part of a great community. It's pretty darn inexpensive. You get me for personal consultations. You get the Zoom calls that we do every Sunday. Plus, you get the modules where you can really learn about nutrition. Because, you know, that's at the end of the day, that's what this is about. It's not about me just answering questions. It's about you learning so that you can share the information yourself. So this is for people, Pharmacist Ben's Academy, for people who love this kind of stuff, like I do, and like everybody who's on Pharmacist Ben's Academy does. This is your tribe. These are your peeps. Right, Becca?
Yes, I'm even going through Pharmacist
Yes.
Ben's. Don't forget that S.
That's Ben's Academy. Pharmacist Ben's Academy.
Pharmacist Ben's Academy.
And props
I'm
to
going
AJ. Props to Mr. AJ for setting it up, by the way.
Yes.
And we're also, by the way, working on a podcast called The Mineral Way, which I'll plug that as well, where we're doing where we do podcasts and all this stuff. Really, you know, we got the best. Longevity has the best price. That goes without saying. But really, this is about information, about helping people with their health and with their longevity, and help people recover from diseases using information, not just using products. So we want to teach and we want to educate, and that's a huge part of what longevity is all about. And that's what Pharmacist Ben's Academy and The Mineral Way and all the things that we do here, Pharmacist Ben Bites and Daily with Doc, that you guys do. This is all about education, and Pharmacist Ben's Academy is just another platform or another portal for that. And thank you, AJ, for setting that up.
Yes, empowering education, and AJ has just been a blessing all the way around.
AJ is amazing.
Yeah.
Yes.
He doesn't like to have any type of accolades, but
Well, we got to give him some because he's amazing. Absolutely.
yes, we do. Yes, we do. All right, well, let's go to the next question. And Mary, what question are you bringing into Pharmacist Friday today?
Hi, Mary.
Hey, Pharmacist Ben, how you doing?
Good. What's going on?
Good. Hey, I've got a couple of questions from our friend Keely, who's
Yes.
not able to ask herself. So
Okay.
they're on topic as well.
Okay.
So let's try to do it quickly here. There's 3 questions. One is your thoughts about giving kids sleep CBD gummies and the risk of suppression
How
of
old?
normal
How
body
old?
systems in
No, that's
children.
that's a little overblown. But I don't, kids,
More in
how
the
old?
teens, I believe, like 11, 12,
It's not
13,
gonna hurt 'em.
14.
It's not going to hurt them, but typically kids don't need it. If your kid does need something to help them fall asleep, and if you're giving them melatonin to sleep because they can't fall asleep, and melatonin doesn't keep you asleep, by the way, it helps you fall asleep. So if your kids can't fall asleep, there's something else percolating in there. Not being
Okay.
able to fall asleep is kind of an adult or an older person phenomenon. If a kid can't fall asleep, I would want to know what's going on, but it's not going to hurt them necessarily, but I'd want to see why they can't fall asleep.
Okay, so the sleep
Sounds like
CBD gummies is not a big
It's
deal.
not going to hurt
but-
them, no.
okay.
But why can't they? The bigger question are there cortisol issues? Are there mental or emotional issues? I'd want to know why they're having problems falling asleep.
Yeah, I think mostly because she has a lot of athletes in her family, so they're constantly,
Sometimes
revved up.
athletes are high cortisol producers,
Yeah.
and that could be an issue. It's not necessarily going to hurt them,
Okay.
but
I think that's the main point.
it's not going to hurt them. Magnesium, inositol, theanine, glycine, tryptophan. These are all amino acids that support that will support your sleep.
Okay.
But
Perfect.
yeah,
Perfect, got it.
the melatonin gummies aren't going to hurt.
Okay. Well, these are the CBD gummies, the same as the melatonin gummies?
I think you're talking about the sleepies, or I'm sorry, what do they call it, Becca? The gummies that have melatonin in them don't have CBD in them.
No, they don't.
CBD is a different product.
Right.
CBD. And CBD is a cannabinoid, a cannabinoid. Your body makes cannabinoids. That's one of the ways we fall asleep. or we relax, not fall asleep, but we relax. And there is endocannabinoid deficiency conditions. Some people don't make enough endocannabinoids. Endocannabinoids are derived from essential fatty acids.
Okay.
Endocannabinoids are natural cannabinoids. Cannabinoids are the active ingredients of marijuana, but your body makes them. In fact, and the cannabinoid system is the most basic and fundamental of all the hormone systems in the body. It's very ancient. There's
Okay.
yeast that have cannabinoids. So cannabinoids are found everywhere, and they're derived in the body from essential fats.
Okay. So maybe more of those would be helpful.
EFAs, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah,
Other
so
question. Oh, go
before
on.
you go to that question, Mary, so Longevity does have the Beyond Sleep gummies, which do not have CBD, but they also in the Hemp FX line have
Mhm.
sleep gummies that do include
CBD.
the
Okay.
So I just
Perfect.
wanted to add that clarity before we move on. So thank you so much, Mary, and thank you, Keely, for a great question.
Yeah. Second question is, as you think around the menopause time, what about pre and post menopause and how to recalibrate to attain good sleep?
Pre-menopause?
Pre and post menopause.
If you can't, yeah. Well, pre-menopause or perimenopause, you're actually making more estrogen. Estrogen can definitely cause some jitteriness and anxiety issues, not necessarily estrogen, but the metabolites of estrogen. And then using progesterone
Okay.
can help balance out estrogen. And essential fatty acids should also be used with estrogen. And then also, interestingly, there's a relationship, and we talked about this last week at Pharmacy Defense Academy. There's a relationship between estrogen and histamine.
Mm-hmm.
Histamine will rev you up. Histamine is a rev you up molecule. It stimulates things. In fact, antihistamines like Benadryl put you to sleep. And a lot of antipsychotic medications, psychosis is a rev you up kind of disorder or dysfunction. And antipsychotics tend to be antihistamines. So histamine is associated with jitteriness, with alertness, with anxiety, with movement, with night sweats, and all of the kind of unpleasant menopausal symptoms that women get post-menopause or even approaching menopause and perimenopause. So the main strategies for dealing with those kinds of issues are going to be digestive, because number one, estrogen will activate histamine.
Mm-hmm.
Estrogen irritates the intestine, and it will stimulate the release of histamine from mast cells. Mast cells are histamine-containing cells in the intestine and other places in the body. And so you'll have histamine. Estrogen can amplify histamine. Histamine can amplify estrogen. Estrogen also revs you up. So between the two, you've got a lot of revving up.
Yeah.
On top of all that, estrogen will suppress the enzymes that break down histamine, particularly something called DAO. So between histamine and estrogen, that's where you run into the jitteriness and the anxiety and the sleep problems that are associated with perimenopause and menopause. The strategy should be progesterone, improving leaky gut and intestinal health, and improving the elimination of estrogen through the bowels, through the liver, and through the gallbladder. Liver, metabolic syndrome. The gallbladder, which makes bile, and estrogen is eliminated through bile, is going to be stressed out when we eat the wrong foods. So again, digestive. And there's also a relationship between the intestine and bile. And then chronic constipation. Interestingly, estrogen, which requires healthy bowel movements, will actually suppress, when it gets elevated, will actually suppress bowel movements, and it's going to be a cause of constipation. All roads lead to the intestine or the digestive system.
Digestive.
That's where you
Okay.
want to focus.
Perfect. Perfect. And lastly, when taking HGH at night, it keeps her up at night. Are there any thoughts or recommendations about that?
You know, when people say I took this and it kept me up, I need a mechanism.
Okay.
I don't want to just hear I took this and it kept me up, because if there's no mechanism, that doesn't make any sense. There's nothing in that HGH product that will keep you up. Nothing. So look for other things. If I don't hear a mechanism, I can't go by assertions or by people's, experiences, because there's a million things that'll keep you up. Somebody told me the other day on one of our calls, they said, oh shoot, I forgot they said. This lady said she had, it was on our pharmacist Ben call. She said she took one Fucoid Z a day. And then when she took 2, she got nosebleeds. Now, there's zero mechanism for taking 1 extra Fucoid and all of a sudden you get nosebleeds. But she insisted that when she takes 2 Fucoids, Fucoid Z, she gets nosebleeds. 1 doesn't do it. Now, I don't want to be the guy who says, you're crazy. That's not true, because that's her experience. So I can't really debate on somebody's experience. So if this lady says she has HGH and it keeps going, I can't debate her experience. That's her experience.
Sure.
But I can tell, so I can't say, no, that's not true. How am I going to say your experience
Right.
isn't true? I can't do that. That's your experience. So that's
Right.
true for you. There's just no mechanism for it.
Yeah. I think we're all just trying to get extra protein or amino acids, and then taking them
Well, yeah,
maybe
HGH
twice a day, 6
yeah,
a.m. and then
the
6 p.m. and so
yeah,
that's the reason.
there's
for
really
doing it.
no mechanism for the HGH keeping you from falling asleep. And that, having said that, that's your experience, then that's your experience. I'm not going to tell you you're not
Sure.
experiencing what you're experiencing, but there's no mechanism.
Okay, so there's nothing typically that would drive
No.
that.
No.
That if that individual has that issue. Okay, sounds good. I am going to turn that back over to Becca to pass it on. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
All right, thank you, Mary. And let's go right over to Phyllis. Phyllis, what questions are you bringing today?
Hello, Pharmacist Ben.
Hi, Phyllis.
Got 2 questions for you. We have Rosa Love on YouTube.
Hi, Rosa Love. I love that name. That's her name,
Is that-
Rosa Love. That's
Is
beautiful.
that nice, Rosa
Yeah,
Love?
that's really beautiful.
What if someone is having elimination problems?
Like bowel elimination, meaning?
Yes, and we know nothing about this person.
Yeah, well,
Health-wise.
I'll just give you generic information because, yes, you know nothing about it.
Yeah.
It could be hypothyroidism. It could be estrogen. It could be dysbiosis. It could be neurogenic, neuromuscular. It could be a lot of things. So I'm just going to give you some generic information. First of all, there's fiber. Fiber will improve bowel movements by attracting water and swelling and stimulating the intestine. Secondly, there are specific micronutrients that can stimulate the bowels, particularly vitamin C and magnesium. Both of those can stimulate the bowels. In fact, magnesium is used as an emergency evacuant, as they say, in pharmacy. They have something called citrate of magnesia, which comes in little green bottles and you drink it down. So that's another thing that you could use. If you're hypothyroid, you got to work on the thyroid. And that means backtracking on the triangle of disease, adrenal, blood sugar, and the digestive system. There's something called GI beriberi. Beriberi is thiamine deficiency, vitamin B1 deficiency. And it means I can't. And it's associated with fatigue and inability to move your muscles effectively, cramping, and also with constipation. So using high doses of thiamine, which you'll get in the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, that can also help. And then also eating too much or eating too frequently can also cause the bowels to become sluggish. So making sure that you're fasting or intermittent fasting or giving yourself some time between meals. Grazing and eating throughout the day will slow down the movement of the propulsion of food through the digestive tract. When you eat, your digestive system becomes sluggish. Why? Because you're trying to extract, your body wants to extract the nutrients from the food. If it rushes through your body to your digestive system too fast, you're not going to extract the nutrients. When you stop eating, the body will clean itself out. There's no food for it to need to extract, and that's that whole MMC, the migrating motor complex that we talked about in the past. The migrating motor complex is a complex of nerves and muscles that propels food through the digestive tract, and it's suppressed by food, and it's activated by no food. So fasting is another great strategy for improving bowel functioning. So without knowing exactly what this gal has, it's hard to say specifically what she can do, but those are some generic ideas. Work on thyroid health by working backwards at the triangle of disease, using fiber, using magnesium and inositol, and then also eating less foods, and then possibly dosing yourself with high doses of thiamine, which you get from the Beyond Tangy Tangerine, if you're dealing with GI beriberi, gastrointestinal beriberi.
And by the way, that is one of the many benefits of fasting that you've mentioned.
Many benefits fasting. Cleans yourself out. It cleans out your body. And not only does it doesn't only clean out the body in a big way, it cleans out dead and dysfunctional cells, not dead, but old dysfunctional cells through something called autophagy. And autophagy, which means self-eating, is activated by fasting. So not only do you clean out the bowels and clean out the digestive tract, but you also clean out the cells, the dysfunctional old cells when you fast.
Okay, our second question is Verna. She is on the Zoom today,
Hi, Verna.
and she asks about symptoms of hypothyroidism. Again, we don't know about the person.
The thyroid is your everything gland. It makes thyroid hormone, which is like your thyroid hormone acts like your foot on the gas. And it acts like your foot on the gas for all the cells of your body. You have some 200 plus different cells in your body. Every one of those cells does what it does with under the control of thyroid hormone. So skin cells do skin cell things, muscle cells do muscle cell things, immune cells do immune cell things, digestive cells do digestive cell things, heart cells heart cell things, and brain cells brain cell things. And each one of the 200 different cells does what they do under the control of thyroid hormone. Which means if you're hypothyroid and you're not making thyroid hormone, none of them are going to work efficiently. That means nothing will work efficiently. That's why I say hypothyroidism is the jumping off point to all chronic disease, all of it. There's no chronic degenerative disease, none, that does not have some element of hypothyroidism associated with it. So you don't even need to be tested. Just assume if you have heart disease, you're hypothyroid. If you have an autoimmune disease, you're hypothyroid. Whatever it is, there's an element of hypothyroidism. Now, interestingly, hyperthyroidism, which is the exact opposite, can be caused by some of the same things that cause hypothyroidism. So Graves' disease is an autoimmune disease of the thyroid that turns the thyroid on excessively, which is actually probably more miserable than hypothyroidism. Hypothyroidism, you don't feel like doing anything, but hyperthyroidism, holy moly, your eyes come out of your head, your blood pressure spikes, your skin gets really oily, you're jittery, you can't sleep. It's awful, awful, awful. And it's an autoimmune disease like Hashimoto's is. And Hashimoto's is the main cause of hypothyroidism. And both of them are autoimmune related, which means they're digestive system related. So just like there's no chronic degenerative disease that does not involve the thyroid, there is no autoimmune disease that does not involve the digestive system.
That is so interesting. And we don't even have to be clinically low or high thyroid. The
It doesn't
thyroid
matter.
is still involved.
Yes, and the testing doesn't work. There's people who have all the signs of hypothyroidism. Their hair's falling out, their nails are thin, their skin is really dry, they feel fatigued all the time. And the doctor will test them and go, well, you're fine. There's nothing wrong with your thyroid. It's normal. And you have all the symptoms.
Yep.
That's why I don't even pay attention to testing.
Yeah.
I don't even find it relevant. Go by your symptoms. That's always going to be, you want to determine how healthy you are by your symptoms, and you want to reverse your symptoms. You want your strategies for dealing with health to improve your symptoms. If your strategies for improving your health just improve your test scores, but don't improve your symptoms, what's the point? So you want to make sure that you're focusing on how can I improve my symptoms? And when you improve your symptoms, you're going to be improving by definition, whatever the cause is. You can mask the symptoms. That's different. Hiding the symptoms, like taking caffeine or something in order to hide the symptom, that's not the same as fixing the symptom. If you fix the symptom, literally, not hide it, not mask it, not disguise it by changing the test scores, but literally fix the symptom, you can assume you fixed the cause.
I will drop off. We may have time for one more question.
One more question, yes.
So Pharmacist Ben, great information. Thank you so much, ladies, for bringing the questions in. Harry wants to know, why do we get black floaters in the fronts of our eyes?
Floaters are signs that your eye tissue is beginning to deteriorate. That's what a floater is. It's a space in the eye. It's like a deteriorating patch, spot in the eye that is not allowing light to move effectively, and it appears like a floater. So it's a sign of MBFA, a breakdown of the eye tissue. That's what a floater is. And once it happens, it's very difficult to reverse, which is why you want to, and I always said this and I'll say it again, you don't want to wait to be sick to get on a supplement program. You don't want to wait for a floater. You don't want to wait for your hair to fall out. You don't want to wait for some kind of symptom, for some kind of bodily symptom to manifest itself before you get on a supplement program. Now, when you're healthy, that's the time to get on a supplement program.
That's right. All right, thank you so much. And if I could get the co-hosts up on the screen with me, I know you have a hard stop, so we want
I
to
do
make
have
sure
one.
that we honor that. Thank you, thank you, thank you. Let's give it up to our pharmacist Benjamin Knight.
Thank you.
Thank you,
Thank you.
pharmacist Ben,
Thank
for
you.
an amazing hour of empowering information. And I am so thankful, Ben, that we have people like Marilyn and Phyllis and Mary and Ruth Ellen and Albert and AJ here to help make a program run smoothly and broadcast it on so many different channels. It's not even funny. It's like amazingly crazy good. So, Ben, thanks for being a great part of our Daily with Doc and Becca show, the Pharmacist Fridays, and being part of Pharmacist Ben Bites, which is on Mondays, everybody, about 9 p.m. Eastern time with Coach AJ. And then don't forget about pharmacistbensacademy.com that you can get more face-to-face time through Zoom, of course, with Pharmacist Ben, and lots of knowledge that you can go through when it's convenient for you and your schedule, and just be more educated and empowered to make choices for a better health journey. So thank you, everybody, for being here. Thank you for our live Zoom audience and all of those that are on YouTube or Rumble or X or Instagram. If there's a way to subscribe, please subscribe. But most importantly, share this information with somebody you know. There is somebody out there that is sick and tired of being sick and tired. And what we offer in our programming could be, and in most cases is, the information they need to change the projection of their health from going down to improving. So everybody, thank you so much for joining us here. Again, my name is Becca Dukes. If you're not working with somebody and you'd like to connect with a certified holistic health coach, please give us a call at 855-949-3377. Again, that's 855-949-3377. If you'd like to email in questions, you can do so by emailing questions@dailywithdoc.com. Again, questions with an S at dailywithdoc.com. And everybody, have a fantastic day. Have a fantastic weekend. And most of all, give your body the opportunity to have a fantastic life without as much pain and MBF disease.
MBFA. Thank you, everybody. Bye, everybody.
Pharmacist Ben, have a great one. Bye
You
for
too.
now.
Bye.
Thank you. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure, or prevent any diseases, nor is it intended to take the place of your primary care physician. The statements in this program have not been evaluated by the FDA. Testimonials are shared as individual experiences of the individual. Results vary and may not be typical. We do not make any claims regarding health or income. As an empowered individual, you do have options available. We are honored to continue to share the teachings of a founding father of the science of epigenetics, Dr. Joel Wallach, Bachelor of Science in Plant and Soil Sciences, Doctor of Veterinary Medicine, 4 postdoctorates in pathology, naturopathic doctor. This program is for educational purposes only. The content is not intended to diagnose, treat, cure,